I have my caffeine lined up over here. As you're coming in, make sure to hit the like button, guys. I'll be your friendly SAS operator for
Montana
for tonight.
Cincinnati. I know. I love doing my thing about people where people are from.
The Rain Man portion of tonight's programming will be brought to you by Chris Bartacci. Oh,
Egypt.
Chris has been to Egypt.
Yes, I have been to Giza.
We have a picture of him.
Pyramids are just absolutely beautiful country.
A camel in front of the pyramids. It's amazing.
It's the first time I got to see the Nile too.
So jealous.
You guys make some nice Madi AKs over there too.
Beats Ohio. Oh, Galveston County. Hey.
Texans.
Fellow Texan.
Austin. Virginia. Nebraska.
This is a real reason why I don't ever show my face. You don't want to see me roll my eyes.
San Antone. Yeah. Beaumont.
What's Joey from Beaumont?
Yeah. Charlotte.
I remember you, Joey.
Baytown. Rhode Island.
Yeah, we can't get into any questions until he does this
Yes.
Rain Man portion.
Well, my nephew plays football for Rhode Island University College.
Brazil?
Brazil. I have been to Brazil.
Thanks for everything. I've learned more than I've ever thought was possible from your videos. Tuning in from New Jersey.
Jersey. Kennedy. I was up here in the Great White North. They major cold, I bet. Pearl Harbor.
Oh, he said, welcome at any time.
Kareem, I've been trying to find my hookah. It's a funny story that when I was in UAE, I got this Egyptian hookah. It was my favorite. It was one of those. Was an ice. It was an ice. It had the ice on the top, and a rotating base with a nice bubble. I broke it. I've been trying to get a new one ever since, and I've had a hell of a time finding it because it's just not one they import into the U.S.
I've been with Chris almost 25 years and never really seen him cry.
Oh, God.
I think he was
that hookah was special.
He was like on the floor just holding the pieces.
I got that there was I was staying at a hotel in UAE, and on top of the hotel there was this really cool US pool, all that kind of stuff, and they had the most incredible hookah that was there, and there was this Lebanese boy who was in charge of it, and I spent a lot of time with that boy. He taught me how to do everything with shisha, how you pack it, how you mix it, using the ice water and everything. It was a freaking coolest thing. I learned a lot from that kid.
So if you saw my announcement earlier, we have what I think is extremely exciting news. I think it's something that you guys are going to be extremely excited for. And to go along with that, we have an amazing package to win. So I'm going to wait a little bit for everybody to get in here. We're going to go ahead and start getting into questions. And so later on, we'll get into that so that we don't,
actually, hookah sounds good. I might do that tonight. My orange mint.
Okay, Rain Man.
Italy. Buongiorno, paesano. Io parlo italiano poco.
We were supposed to go to Italy for our 20th, but COVID. Different
Io
plans
non ho dove vai Gubbio.
Here we go. Jeremy on Donor Box, he submitted a question earlier I do open that up on Facebook as well as the YouTube stream. If you'd like to donate tonight, you can do that with the super chat function, although Google does take 30%. We prefer donor box. I'm going to plop the link down in here for you into the chat. It's also on smallarmsolutions.com. You can put your question in the notes section. I'll get an email and then you'll get priority. You'll get a guaranteed response. We do not just take paid questions. We will be pulling as many questions and getting through them as quickly as possible for you guys tonight. The first one up is from Jeremy. He wants to know, why does it seem like the traditional American companies like S&W, Winchester, Remington, Colt, Ruger are unable to compete in today's market? They seem to be more tradition focused instead of adapting to the modern market. S&W might be the most successful with their M&P line, being somewhat popular with civilians and police. They really can't compete for contracts like HK, Glock, Sig, FN, and the like. I have no problem with foreign companies. It just seems like we struggle to produce quality gear for our own military.
This has been going on for quite some time. In fact, I would say probably the 70s. The U.S. industry, the U.S. firearms industry has done horrible jobs in being able to update and have new designs. If you look at the XM8 or XM9 program, which was 1985 for the replacement handgun for the 1911, there was not one American company that made the down select. The final down select was Sig and Beretta, and at that time that was Beretta Italy and Sig Germany. And then if you look anything forward, if you look at the newer weapons that are being used by SOCOM, you're seeing FN, you're seeing HK. If you look at the American pistol market, I mean, I don't have any American-made pistols that I would carry for self-defense. Everything that I carry would be Glock, Sig. Well, Springfield Hellcat is one of my newest ones. You know, combat pistols, FN, Beretta, Glock, HK. It's our industry here is falling behind the rest of the world, especially military weapons. If you look at where we're at today, there is absolutely no U.S. made or U.S. designed military small arms. You have the Colt M16 M4, which is now all made by FN. You have the machine guns FN. You have the pistol Sig. Colt didn't even put any entries into the XM17 program. We have fallen greatly behind in this country. And if you look at law enforcement, you know, up until the Smith & Wesson M&P came along, no one was touching anything that was American-made. And still, you know, the M&P was still questionable at that. They still have a very, very small percentage of the market compared to, you know, Glock and Sig and Beretta. I don't know. It is the American tradition or American way of thinking. A lot of these companies have the same designs that they've had for forever, and they just keep going on and on and on with trying to update those rather than to do something new. It's a shame. It really is.
Kevin from Donnerbox, thank you, Kevin. He wants to know what have been the biggest technological improvements to the AR platform since the M16A2 was released in 1986. What do you see as the upcoming technological advancements to the AR platform in the next decade? The engineering parents in my neighborhood worked for Melonix Litton Industries for Army contracts during the improvement program for the M16A1. It was cool to hear those engineers discuss what was needed to make the M16A1 better for the Army. They were very upset that the Marine Corps officers and the incompetence of the Ordnance Corps and the NATIC when it came to the adoption of the M16A2.
Yeah.
The engineers in the early 1980s well analyzed the ergonomic and reliability needs that ultimately became part of the ARs we know today.
Well, if you look at, I guess you want to call it generations of ARs, Gen 1 would have been the Model 601 and the A1. Gen 2 would have been the M16A2. And I looked at the M4 is the Gen 3. And if I had to say there's a Gen 4, it would be the LMT MRP. The MRP was the greatest leap in technology as far as the AR platform they've had to date still, with the way the barrels are removable, the interchangeable calibers, barrel lengths, operating systems. And of course, he also did the enhanced bolt carrier group, which was leaps ahead of what the standard was. Those are the generational leaps that I see. I don't see anything that's been a major leap outside of that. You see a lot of people who've done some neat little features in the ARs. But for as far as leaps, the MRP took it to its next level of modularity. You know, it was always considered modular because you could swap upper receivers, new barrels, new, whatever. But to have one receiver that at user level could custom his weapon for whatever his tactical situation was. Okay, I'm going close quarter battle. I'm going to put a 10.5 or a 14.5. I'm going to go longer range. I need a 16-inch, or I can put a 20-inch in there. I think I'm going to be in a place where it's really, really rough. I want to put an external piston. I can trap that upper receiver and that carrier in there. Or if I want some big, heavier caliber, I can go to 6.8. I can go to 300 blackout. I can do whatever I want. To me, that's been the greatest leap in technology since the M4.
How often do firearm manufacturers perform an SFMEA systems FMEA and a corresponding FMEM failure mod effects management on firearm designs, or is that not an industry practice in the firearms field? I don't want to single out any firearm manufacturers or designers, but a lot of failures could have been prevented by something as simple as an SMFEA and an FMEM. When designing our other military equipment, we have to do this, but I see glaring errors in firearms designs that would have been caught by a baby engineer doing it an SMFEA. A lot of problems can easily be avoided.
You see that happening with military products. You don't see them, most manufacturers wanting to put that money into commercial. If you look at the whole mil spec and all the quality control that goes into that versus what goes into commercial guns, it's night and day. Most companies will not invest that kind of money unless they are determining a major outcome like a military contract, unfortunately.
What are your thoughts on the Timney trigger kits that converts Glock pistols from double action to single action? Many uninformed internet experts believe that converting a Glock to single action removes one or more of Glock's 3 safety mechanisms. The trigger safety, firing pin safety, and drop ledge safety are still present. The sear is inertly unbalanced in the y-axis, but disengagement is opposed by a sear spring and friction from the sear interface. The testing of the triggers on the MTS machines and shock testers look really nice, a game changer. Unfortunately, a Timney chose a 3-pound trigger pull weight.
Well, for the reality is, if you're going to have a competition gun, fine. For a personal defense gun, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. That system is set up for reliability, durability, and you don't want a trigger so light that just your stress is going to set it off. That 5.5 pound, with the way the trigger is on that, with the safeties that are on there, it is a really good combination to make sure you don't have unintentional discharges. There's a lot of neat gadgets out there so you can convert these guns. Just a matter of where their place is. Those places are not in defensive guns or combat guns. They are in toys, range toys. If you are going to have your life depending on something, you want not only durability and reliability, you also want it to be set up so it's not going to go off accidentally. And these guns are designed in the way that they are, so you have the best of all worlds. Once you start making modifications like that, I've heard about that trigger as well. I don't mess with it. All my Glocks have stock triggers in them. I have over about 20 Glocks, and I've never made any changes to any of them. A couple of them have got the 3.5 pound Glock connector in them, the ones that are more of a target pistols. But other than that, I don't mess with them because I want them to be reliable every time I pull the trigger.
Kirk, thank you for your donation on Donor Box. I did tell Chris about your range report on the PSA, and he is very pleased to hear it. So far, we are both good with wine and bourbon right now. I think we both been kind of going through
dry after what happened last week, man, talking about drinking. Holy cow.
I know right now, my drinks of choice are coffee and tea. I have both options right here, just caffeine upon caffeine. Victor, if you are on here, I did send you an email earlier. But it's coming back, and I'll try again later. But he absolutely wants those pictures. So I'll try to email you again and see if it goes through. In the AR platform, what is your recommendation for the best bolt and barrel in 7.62x39?
Well, the bolts I'm really fond over the LMT, but they're sort of vaporware. They're very, very hard to come by. But for as far as 7.62x39 is concerned, I have to say that I've been very impressed with the PSA. If you can get one, it's my KS47 is done really well. Also, if you guys have seen my current video on the Black Rifle Arm 7.62x39 external piston gun, he makes a wonderful bolt and an improved extractor.
Do Do you have a charging handle recommendation if running an AR-15 suppressed?
Yes, absolutely. The precision reflex, the gas buster, that is the best one that I have seen so far. All my guns that I have cans on all have gas busters on them.
We've seen MP5 clones left and right. Why haven't we seen an MP7 clone? And what are the reasons?
Now, of course, I can't give you, a for sure answer, but I can tell you what my opinion is. My opinion is the ammunition for the MP7. There's no commercial manufacturers of it available here in the States, and a lot of those rounds are armor piercing rounds. I have yet to ever see anybody manufacture ammunition for that in this country. And quite frankly, when you have the 5.7, 5.7 is a better round. I wouldn't see the need for it. But of course, I do believe the mechanism on that gun is patented by HK too. So HK might be the one who have to do it to bring in particular MP7. But there's just I've seen no demand or anybody even really asking for it.
Thank you, Steve. I'll be looking for your question. I don't see any yet. Let me know if you have a question. I'll be looking for it. Kevin just wants to say thanks for the great information in the Q&A podcast. Heather and Chris do so much for the industry. Thank you so much, Kevin. Chris, 9310 bolt or C158. Also, do you use a donut and rubber insert with a Spring Co 5 Colt Extractor spring? Heard not to do that, but not sure.
Those are both decent materials. 9310 probably is a little bit better. I use rubber O-rings in everything, not the D-rings. The D-rings tend to be more expensive. But the rubber O-rings I put in everything. And the 5-coil extractor spring, absolutely. Those the ones I generally use are the Colt ones. They're the ones that are copper in color. It gives you the extra spring. It's called basically the M4 extractor spring, which it took the government a long time to allow them to be used on the M16A2s, which they are now, and A4s. I have that. You have that whole system there is insurance. You can remove that recoil. I'm sorry. You can remove the extractor spring and buffer and just put the rubber donut in there. The thing would still work better than it would if you just had the the extractor spring and buffer alone. You're looking at a factor of 3 times that rubber donut gives you.
Opinion on 2011s.
Where's it at?
It's up at the top here.
I think he's referring to the 1911 updates. I'm not a 1911 type guy, so that didn't do anything for me either, unfortunately.
Oh, Vincent, glad you got your books.
Awesome.
I'm sure the post office is not very.
Yeah, post office has been sucking around here. I've had some parts on.
I meant because I keep dropping off these boxes.
Oh god damn, they're just doing a shitty job.
I should have everything out tomorrow. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody has asked so many times about if Chris, no, leave it there. Just wait. Do as you're told.
Yes.
Everybody always asks Chris if he will be writing a Black Rifle 3, and I have lovingly convinced him. No, he had already started it a while ago. Blake Stevens was always an advocate for Black Rifle 3, and one of my fondest things about Blake Stevens is he used to call it Chris probably weekly and say, "Hey, is it Black Rifle 3 on its way?" I can't do a Canadian accent, but is it on its way to me? And I would be like, "Yes."
When you start that book, you knob.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm ready for it. I'm ready to start editing it," and yeah, he had started it a while ago and just kind of abandoned. And now we are officially going to be doing it. And I say we because I had no involvement in Black Rifle 2 other than to tell him that he was the perfect the man for the job and to work overtime at work to help fund it. But I'm saying we this time because he's going to need help with photography. So we are going to be fundraising for Black Rifle 3. We are still fundraising as well for the rights for Black Rifle 2. And we are hoping that is happening this year. Fingers crossed. But regardless, he's going to go on and write the next installment of this book, and I know that everybody's been very excited for that. So what we've decided to do, because of what I have left from now that all orders have been accounted for and tallied and all of that, I have one bundle left, which would be the signed Armor's Manual and a signed brand new copy of Black Rifle 2. So Chris, in his infinite wisdom, which I thought was an amazing idea, has decided that he would like it to be the ultimate AR package. And so we will be having a copy of the first Black Rifle 1 and the next book. You see it, hold it up closer. The lighting is, there you go. There you go.
This is probably one of the most unknown books that's incredible in the industry. There is nothing like it for as far as those of you guys who have interest in the AR-10 rifles. I assisted briefly with some of the more current stuff, Mr. Putnam, on this. This is a must for any AR-15 enthusiast to have that book. It where he got the information, yes, where he got that information from on the history of the AR-10, I have no idea. You will be shocked when you read it. You will see basically how the government, of course, how they wanted their M14. You'll be seeing how they sabotaged the AR-10. And then you'll see all the places that were interested in the AR-10, but how things always ended up going down because of State Department and other things. The photographs that he has in here are unprecedented. He was fortunate enough to get Reed Knight to help.
Okay, so,
Incredible
and I know
book.
a lot of you guys have been asking for Black Rifle 1 and where to get a hold of it. We only have one copy, and that is his signed copy with Eugene Stoner's signature in it. That's not the one that's going to be out. I actually bought one on Amazon myself for $200 to go into this collection. So this is well over $500 worth of books. So we're going to raffle it off. Tickets are going to be $20 each, or 3 tickets for $50. So if you would like tickets, you can email me at hbartacci@smallarmsolutions.com. I will also plop that into the chat line. We're going to do a little video about it too with more details, but we're going to pick a winner live 2 weeks from today, which is on St. Patrick's Day, which I think is, you know, instead of Luck of the Irish.
And St. Patrick was Italian anyways.
It's Luck of the AR package. But you'll win all of these and we'll pick it live on air, so all that will be going towards us with book rights and writing, because I have to buy quite a lighting kit to do these photographs so that it's something.
And whole camera setup. It's a whole different kind of photography.
He's overwhelmed with all of that. So I told him, what if I take that from you? What if I do that and take that from you? And he was like, okay. So yeah. And I can send you guys invoices. You could also use the link on DonorBox and just put your information in the comment section and say how many tickets you want. Again, it's 1 ticket for $20, or you can get 3 tickets for $50. So we will be picking that live on air, but hopefully you guys will like that. We thought it would be fun.
Already got that one.
Okay, you got that one.
That one.
What is Sterilite Liner used in? 50 BMG barrels. Why don't they make AR-15 barrels with that?
It's a whole different ballgame. What you're utilizing with a 50 caliber, the wear that goes into that barrel versus what's on a small arm is a whole different. And plus, if you look at those coatings versus what you'd be able to put in a 22 caliber bore, it's quite different as well. Very similar to the chrome plating. If you look at the early days of the Vietnam War, it was much easier and it was not a problem to chrome plate larger bores. 22, it took a while to get that squared away before they could actually chrome plate a 22 caliber bore.
Vincent on DonorBox, thank you. Looking to replace my Remington 700P heavy 26-inch barrel with a semi-auto as my department sniper rifle. Thinking of LMT or LaRue maybe.
Well, LMT, I got the guys back home in Rochester, the police department, the SWAT team, to use the LMTs. I mean, I'm sure you could use LaRue. I don't have experience with LaRue, but there probably are several really good ones that are out there. The LMT for a urban police department, you could get a 16-inch. It would do a wonderful job. If you're more of a rural type, you can go with the 18-inch. You also, if you want to go with the 6.5 Creedmoor, a lot of people are switching from 7.62 to 6.5 Creedmoor. And LMT now offers an MLS with a 6.5 Creedmoor 24 or 20-inch barrel. Quite frankly, that might be your best bet, is to go with an LMT with a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel. I think overall, if your department will go for it, that's the way to go. They also have it in 7.62. Nights, it's very hard to justify the cost for what you get. You're having the ability to swap out barrels. If you want to go to, say, both 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor, you can have that. It's custom configurable.
Dennis on Dinnerbox says, "Thank you for all your hard work and enjoying all your
Thank
videos and wealth of knowledge on firearms."
Thank you.
Thank you. What is your opinions on the extra power
Already
extractors?
got that.
Oh, sorry guys, mess. The new complete upper receivers being sold right now by Colt, are they worth buying?
I'm sure they're worth buying. I'm sure they're decent quality. The more and more I see of them, the more and more you're seeing things are completely outsourced. I don't know if they're doing anything anymore in house from the stuff that I'm seeing on some of these newer ones. I mean, having that cage code or that C on there, if they have those, that will always give you some value to it for resale, because the fact that it is Colt, whether it's better or not, it's a whole different story.
M855A1 or Mark 262 Mod 1 is standard issue for all ground pounders, and why?
Well, that's an interesting situation, because first off, the M855A1 I don't like because of the fact that it destroys guns. It's a very effective round if we have something that would fire it without any adverse situations. For as far as the Mark 262, there's no better accurate or more terminally destructive round out there. One of the things you have to really worry about with a military grade round is you want to have penetration for body armor, and also against mortar and brick and things like that, in case you have to take down walls and you want some steel penetration, which is where you get the battle cartridges like the M855 and M855A1, which give you that. Unfortunately, it's hard to have one round that's going to do everything excellent. You generally have to go with a compromise, one that'll do good on penetration. Well, it'll do decently on internal performance, but it'll be reasonably accurate. You in order to get a round that's going to do all of those, it'll do all of them, but none of them really, really well. Where the Mark 262 is going to give you the accuracy in a terminal, where it's not going to give you the penetration in barriers as the other ones will. So, with that being said, most military rifles are anti-personnel, which to me, the Mark 262 is an ideal round for an anti-personnel round. When you start dealing with saws and you start dealing with belt-fed machine guns, that's when you start seeing the benefit to having the more of the barrier type rounds that are going to cut down mud huts and things along those lines. So to me, it makes more sense to have two rounds that are compatible with each other than it does just to have the one. As I said, I would have the Mark 262 in my rifle 100% of the time. There's no question.
Raymond has a question on DonorBox. He wants to know, it's a question on SIG's new NGSW with 6.8 ammo or 330 Norma Mag. Seems like using such high pressure velocity ammo would reduce barrel life too far for a military rifle, or has barrel manufacturing technology got far enough to make it practical?
It will definitely wear the barrels out extremely quick. One of the things about this whole program for the government to switch to this a 6mm round is, first off, we have simple, reliable designs right now. Unfortunately, when you want to do at least kind of advancements and make it more high tech, you're going to be making it more complex. Trying to make a round that's going to do both. I've said that forever, that you can't make one round that's going to be great in downtown Baghdad versus the mountains of Afghanistan. You have two completely different types of environments where you would be at a disadvantage carrying either weapon. you'll be at a very big disadvantage carrying a a heavier 6 mm or 7.62 NATO rifle in Baghdad when you're dealing with close quarter battle than you will having a full powered rifle that's going to be getting you 1,000-yard shots or 500-yard shots in Afghanistan. They're trying to make one rifle do everything. The rounds that they have with the higher pressures, what's going to happen to those guns over long haul, what the barrel life's going to be. I'm not very excited about the whole prospect of switching. I believe we'd be better off going with a 5.56 M4 and then having a belt-fed machine gun and everything else at 6.5 Creedmoor. If we could find a material that would help those barrels last longer with a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Any mechanical drawbacks if an AR were to have reduced bolt and dwell spring like a LaRue K1, allowing folding stock?
Well, they have guns that do that. I mean, there's several ARs that have modifications to get it shorten everything up in there. The AR was designed in a specific way with a buffer spring. And if you like the AR platform, you stay with that. If you want something that's going to be shorter, you want a side folding stock, you're better off going with something like an MCX or an AR180 or something that has everything inside, SCAR, XCR, or whatever. You have plenty of options if you want something like that. AR, I would leave it as it is with having the buffer and the buffer spring. That's why you get that nice mild recoil, that nice inline construction.
Joey from Beaumont wants to know, does SIG actually have a patent on their Magic 1.5 stack magazine in the P365/P365XL, or can we expect to see other handguns squeeze more rounds in thin frames like the Hellcat has going forward?
I don't believe they have any patent on the magazines at all. It's very hard to patent a magazine. You have a spring, a housing, and a follower. I don't know how you can patent any of that kind of shit. That's all the same. I'm sure you'll be seeing an aftermarket for all this stuff. You're already seeing aftermarkets for the P320 with Elite Tactical Systems. I've been using, even they make them for the HK VP9. I have those here for an upcoming video. So I would expect to be seeing some stuff coming up from the aftermarkets.
Will CZ make Colt lowers more available now that they've bought them out?
There is nothing that has been announced of what the plans are moving forward. As I said in my previous video, the acquisitions are just going through. I don't believe CZ's gone in there and started making any changes yet. I think we're probably a ways off from seeing how they're actually going to run the company and what they're actually going to do. There's a lot of unanswered questions right now. Right now it's just the acquisition's done. Now we got to start to see how the actual takeover is going to be.
Thanks for all the help. I hate missing these streams. When is the best time to tune in? I've been watching since they used to be every Thursday night. Yeah, they changed to Wednesday nights a good 6 months ago. Unfortunately, with 4 children and they have activities going on, we have to do the best night. We try to be consistent with it so that it's easier to remember what day. But yeah, we've been Wednesdays now for a while. So, I mean, I can't say every Wednesday. We try to do as many Wednesdays as we can, but we try to also keep the same time too. That helps. LMT 10.5, brace it or SBR it with a current admin?
I would SBR due to the fact that once you SBR that sucker, you can do any barrel length you want. You can swap out calibers. You can do anything you want. Once you have the MRP upper and you have that SBR and lower, you can do anything with it. There are so many configurations and so many calibers. It would be foolish not to.
Chamber fluting like POF's E squared in certain HK rifles. Is this an unnecessary luxury technology or a great option to opt into when available?
The fluting technology in the HK is very different from that of the E squared. The E squared, if you look at the HK, the fluting goes all the way around the chamber. It's all around the entire chamber. Where if you look at the E squared, it is just on the shoulders. So the E squared is a insurance that works out really, really well to break the cartridge case free from the chamber with little use of the extractor. Where the roller delay blowback utilize the entire chamber to do a very similar job, but it has to be much more aggressive. It is an excellent technology. It is a excellent reliability enhancement. I think pretty much any rifle would benefit from it. It would certainly make extraction easier by utilizing that gas. Coming back to assist that way. It's an excellent technology. There are some people who have claimed that it affects accuracy. In my experience with it, I haven't seen that. But then again, I'm not putting it on a bench and trying to take out all human. I think for actual combat use, I think it's an excellent technology. Frank DeSalma, before he passed, he was trying to license it out, but nobody picked it up, and it was a shame because it was an excellent technology that worked.
Would you recommend FN barrels? Don't they make them for other manufacturers?
Oh yeah, FN makes probably the best Colt hammer forged chrome line military grade barrels in the industry. I highly recommend those. Those are very highly sought after. There's many OEMs that use them.
Would adding additional slots in a Colt or two-position stock devalue it, or should I just change it to a six-position?
I just buy a new receiver extension, keep your other one, and then if you ever decide you want to sell the rifle, you put your original one back on there. Then it's all OEM equipment. No, there's no point in drilling anything.
I'm looking at my next AR-15 as a Sig MCX or an HKMR 5.56. What would you choose and why?
Well, first off, price wise, the Sig and a heartbeat. Go back to the. I want to see which ones you're looking at again.
Oh, you
Was it
just,
what the was
I
it
just
the
moved off of it.
was it the MCX or the 516?
MR 5.56,
What was the Sig model?
MCX.
Well, I probably would go with the MCX because it's a lot more modular. You're able to swap out calibers with it. Um, it has a lot of advancements in it. Um, you can just do more with it, and the parts are going to be available to you here in the U.S. And they're not all going to be proprietary. If you look at what the MR556 is, I expect you're going to be seeing some new models as long as there's no import bans by Biden. I imagine you're going to maybe seeing some of the MR556s go to some of the newer models. But the cost does not outweigh. You have good barrels on the Sig, easily replaceable barrels, different calibers. There's just so much more you can do with it. As nice as the MR556 is, I have one. Um, there's other things that you can get a lot more value for.
I've seen many channels say the design focus for the Colt AR-15 uh, and its ammo was for civilians and not the military. I've seen other documentaries that say the AR-15 was designed for the military in war. Which is it?
The AR-15 was designed for the Air Force, particular. It was General May who went to Stoner and said, "We want you to build us a rifle from the Salvo program or the Shiv program, small caliber high velocity program." And the 223 was designed along with the AR-15. They were designed together as a military weapon systems platform. There was nothing commercial about it and nothing for civilians available thought about it. It was designed around a military program that LeMay went to Stoner and Armalite about. So anybody who says otherwise does not know what they're talking about.
Daniel Defense is getting contracts for their 14.5-inch and 11.5-inch barrel for military use. Their barrels are military grade.
Their barrels are Colt hammer forged. Daniel Defense has their own Colt hammer forged machine. And this is the first time our military is accepting Colt hammer forged barrels. Now again, that's SOCOM. That's not regular Army.
Any experience on the quality of Anzio Ironworks 20mm rifles?
No, sorry.
Is the Benelli M4 Tactical worth the upgrade over the M2 Tactical?
Yes.
For a home defense purpose.
The M4 is the best shotgun on the face of this earth for any kind of combat use. There's nothing wrong with the M2. I had one of those, and then as soon as I got to the free state here in Texas, where I was free, that was the first thing I did was trade that in and get my my M4. Both are excellent shotguns. M4 is tend to be more reliable because of the piston system in it versus the recoil. Why is it not escaping me? Senior moment, I guess.
I know, and you look at me for help, and I'm like, can't give it to you.
Yeah, it was basically a delayed
CC
blowback type
senior
system
moment.
that the recoil system that they had on the HK prior to the M4, where you have the the Argo system on the M4, and that allows you to have you don't have to have as much recoil. With the recoil system that was used on the original Benellis, you had to give it something to recoil against really good for it to cycle properly. Where with the M4, it's easier to do hip shooting. It's easier to do some different kinds of ammunition. You have two pistons in there, not just one, but two pistons that operate the bolt on the M4.
What do you think is the most modular rifle?
M16, M4, hands down.
Inertia system is what.
Inertia, that's right. Now, some people will tell you, now, you also have to define modular too. Now, if you define modular as calibers and configurations, M16, M4 without a doubt. Now, some people will say, well, I want to be able to have, I want to eject out the left-hand side. Then you're starting to look at more guns like, who are unheard of, such as the ARX-100. The ARX-100 is the most ambidextrous rifle of all time. With being able to switch your ejection pattern, your charging handle, and having your bolt releases, everything ambidextrous. So it depends on what your idea of modular is.
Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. How does LWRC compare to other piston systems, Caracal and HK in particular? What is the most reliable AR pattern rifle on the market right now?
I would say all three of those, you're looking at good combat grade rifles. It's hard to say that one's better than the other. When you look at the Caracal versus the HK, for instance, the Caracal is the updated version of the there's the lineage what we've discussed, where you went from the HK 416. The engineer went over to SIG. Then the engineers came up with the SIG 516. And then two engineers went over to Caracal and built the 816. All were supposed to be improvements on the other. Now, for as far as LWRC is concerned, you're looking at a company with military contracts. They are all excellent guns. I own all three. My favorite of the three is the Caracal, because I like having parts that are common. That if my bolt breaks or extractor breaks, I can buy one and throw it in there. The HK is all proprietary. It's overgassed. The system beats itself up more, which is what makes it work. I believe the service life on the Caracal and the SIG are going to be longer. They're not overgassed like the HK is. And there's some modifications that have been made to the systems to make them run smoother.
What's your opinion on SIG's new stainless case head 80,000 psi chamber pressure ammunition and firearms?
I guess the first reason is why. I have a problem with that kind of power, with modern barrels. Now they claim that the cartridge case will accept the pressure with having the steel back, on the back of the cartridge case. I have yet to fire it. It's one of those things where you have to wonder why, and you have to also wonder what it's doing to the barrel, trying to get to those kinds of velocities. These are all these things that we have to really look at to see if they're practical for a battle rifle. And that's really all I can really say, because I'm reading the same stuff that you are. I've not gotten my hands on any of it to test yet, and it's going to be quite some time. That stuff's in military testing right now. They're not sitting out to writers for us to look at.
Thank you, Hobo Hunter. Just trying to see if you had a question. I don't see anything. If you do, let me know. Is the extractor for 760 by 39 by Black Rifle Arms a proprietary part and exclusive to their bolts?
No, you can call up and you can order those extractors and they'll drop right in.
What's some of the best BCGs in your opinion?
Well, depending on the platform, the LMT enhanced BCG for certain rifles. LMT and Colt. Colt's bolt carriers have always been a mixture of their own and pretty much micro best. Good military grade carriers. If you're looking at more advanced carriers, take a look at the POF and the LWRC for the internal piston. They make very good carriers. A lot of the other ones, it's more just cosmetics versus mechanical. Those ones I've mentioned are the ones where there's mechanical benefits to them. A lot of the other ones, just have some fancy stippling on them, or they have just a strange shape, or they got some wonder finish on them. But those are the ones where you're going to get more of a mechanical benefit.
And we do have a 3-part series on BCGs on our channel that you could check out that kind of goes over a lot of them. And then there's also on smallarmsolutions.com, there's master lists for each part of those with pictures and descriptions and prices and where to purchase now.
Just good luck on getting them.
I can't tell you that they'll be there when you click on it, but there are master lists on smallarmsolutions.com where you can find the ones that he goes through in those videos. And then maybe, I don't know, bookmark them, and hopefully they'll be around soon. It's hard to, talk about anything.
With SHOT Show not happening this year, it's very hard to know what's new for this year. And right now, I was just talking to my buddy over at American Tactical, and he was saying that, a lot of the manufacturers right now have been very reluctant to release or to invest in new weapons platforms with the potential of bans coming in. So this has been a very strange year for the industry.
It's been a very strange time in general. Then you combine the two together. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Do you think the current Arsenal SAM 77K rifles, pistols are worth the $1,800 price tag right now?
I think so. If you look at what Biden can do with an executive order, one thing he can do is prevent importations, and that's going to make those that much more valuable too, for as far as going up in value, if that's something he does decide to do.
What is your opinion on counterbalance recoil systems such as AK-107?
Counterbalance is always good. In a platform like an AK, probably not so much. It's certainly overcomplicated, but it does give you the reduction that it advertises. But you also trade complexity for that too. When you're taking a system that's very simple and robust, and you're adding parts to it.
Do you think the military will adopt the 6.8 millimeter round for their new small arms prototypes, or will it be another dead contract?
Again, I have no inside knowledge of it. I think it's going to be dead because, again, when you look at this whole thing practically, you have to see that you can't get one weapon that's going to do everything. And you're going to be adopting one new weapon that's going to be too big for close quarter battle type fighting, and it's going to be smaller for longer the longer range. You're rather than having a 5.56 rifle for close quarter and a 7.62 or a 6.53 more for long distance, you're going to get something that's not going to do either of those two. It'll do both of them, but it's not going to do as good as either the other. You're going to try to find some kind of a compromise right in the middle, and I don't think it's a good idea. And I would hope when they look at the cost, they look at all this stuff, they're going to realize that this is a waste of money.
Thank you, John. I love your crime series. By the way, I shop. A shop near here gets a lot of police evidence room buyouts, and it's hilarious just how many Brico, Jennings, Jimenez, etc. You see sometimes boxes full of shiny metal. Someone was asking earlier too, and we didn't get to read that out. They wanted to know what the next crime series was.
The next one will be the Tenfolio Titan. It's a little 25 automatic pistol that it has a lot of remnants of the Beretta 950. Not nearly as well refined, but this one is a lot more reliable than any of the Raven or Jimenez or any of those crap blowback guns. Trigger's sort of shitty on them, but once you get it loaded and it fires, it will continue firing. That's the next one. That one's all ready for us to go next time we start doing our next filming dates.
That's tomorrow.
Yep.
We're having a business meeting. You guys are part of it. We're filming tomorrow. That's my fault that we didn't get more filming done last week. I was trying to play catch up after that week of no electricity, and then that video that just went up yesterday.
That was a long one. That was tough.
We don't put out as many videos as some of the other guys do, but I try not to beat myself up too much about that because I see what they're posting. And what they're posting is fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's smaller videos, and so you compare 15 minutes to producing, editing, 45. It's like it's a lot. It's
Okay, I figure 40 minutes. I mean, that's a regular hour-long TV show. With
oh
commercials.
God.
But that video,
Oh no, go ahead.
okay, that video was on several things. It was on something that's been people talk about a lot. Is why don't these guns work in this caliber? And this was not only a good review on the cap system, but it also talked about how to make those 760x39 ARs work and what the problems are and how to fix them.
Daniel says it was a long ass 4 days in Austin. It was a long ass 4 days here in Houston too. And it's funny, I think everybody has PTSD from it because I had to go to the doctor today, and I didn't even tell you this, Chris, but one of the very first things he said to me was, "So how'd you make out in that storm?" It's like, we were cold. And he was like, something has to be done. Something has to be done. Like, so I feel like all of us Texans kind of have a little
Definitely on
PTSD.
top of it.
I feel like we've all had PTSD. Like if it rains, like after Hurricane Harvey, we all kind of like, oh, it's raining. Like what does this mean? And I think now if we get 30, 35 degrees, I think all of us are going to be like, oh crap. They're going to be wrapping their pipes up because everybody's pipes were burnt. It was terrible. Joey from Beaumont wants to know, why was the 45 caliber chosen for the Mark 23 instead of the 9mm or 40 S&W? If the project was done today, do you think they still would choose 45?
Oh yeah, a 45 with the knockdown power that it was known for, and its ability to be suppressed, and its different types of ammunition that's available to it. Oh, certainly. The 40 S&W was never adopted on any military type of a program. You also had existing stocks of 45 ammunition that could be used in it. There was any number of reasons. SOCOM specified they wanted 45 auto. And again, at that time, the 40 caliber came out around 93, maybe 94 at that time. And that was still relatively new. But the SOCOM stipulated they wanted 45 auto for that.
I'm a Southerner, but I lived up in New York for 11 years. I know my accent doesn't say that. I also lived in the Midwest for 5. I lived in negative 30 degrees for 10 years of my life, and probably negative 15 and living in the Midwest or even close to that. We are not soft, okay? And it wasn't 2 days without heat. Our electricity went out at 11 p.m. on Sunday and didn't come back until Thursday evening. So you want to come live over here at Simon for 5 days with 4 children. Come on, dude. I'd love to see you be able to do it. I'd love to see you try and feed 4 kids when it's 20 degrees outside.
No stoves. All we have was a freaking burner.
See, these New Yorkers, they think or these Northerners think that they can flex on the fact that they can handle cold. But guess what? I lived in New York. Yeah. You have heat.
Yeah.
We didn't have heat.
We had nothing.
So nothing. We didn't even have water.
Yeah, because here, if you don't have power, you don't have water.
You don't have water. You want to come live with 4 kids who can't flush the toilet? Simon, come on over. let me test how tough you are. Buddy. Let me test how tough you are, dude. Come on. I love those little keyboard warriors. Xavier. What is your opinion on match grade 416R stainless steel barrels in an AR platform rifle for military use, specifically the Radian Weapons Model 1?
No. Match grade barrels will not handle the rapid fire, the full auto fire. They will wear much quicker than chrome lined barrels, and the corrosion resistance is there. They require a lot more maintenance, especially in humid environments. No, it's a combat barrel is very different from a match grade DMR type barrel on what's expected of it.
How many kids you got, Xavier? I want to know. Watch, he'll tell me 5. Oh, I had 5 and an infant. Mike sent the kids out to the bathroom. No, he tried to with our son. He was like, I think us boys should go outside the back. I was like, y'all are not bears. You're not going to go shit in the woods. What is your opinions on Paul Leitner, Wise, and his products?
Boy. Paul is a extremely controversial individual.
Oh, by the way, Xavier has no kids. Xavier, shut up. Shut up. You don't know.
Paul, this is a really hard question, dude, because I don't like saying bad things about people. Paul was a very controversial individual.
Who knew that the last 10 minutes of the stream was going to get so interesting?
Really. He was a very controversial individual. a very stubborn individual, a very self-righteous individual. Um, Always thought he knew how to do it best, even though things were right in front of him that didn't work. He didn't listen to people who knew. There are people who claimed that he stole technology from them. There are people that he has led on, manufacturers who he led on that he was supposed to produce things for them, and he never did. The 499 Lightning Weiss Rifle Company cartridge was a flop because he wouldn't listen to Carl Lewis. It was something that could have happened. It could have been sold, but because of his own arrogance, not listening to Carl, it never happened. He's had people who have claimed he stole from them, and then he's claimed people have stolen from him. Very controversial to say the least. Thank you so much, Joe.
No, I'm just laughing at this guy telling me that I can flush my toilet if I pour a bucket of water directly in. You do realize that water has to come out of the pipes, Joey.
We did not have water to do that. And it wasn't raining outside, so we could
you know what? I want to hear from y'all in the summer months when y'all are dying and your AC breaks. And you have no electricity for 5 days. Or water. Is there anything I need to be aware of when you're a 14.5 barrel pinned and weld?
No, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Once you have it pinned and welded in place, there's no reason to ever touch it. You're good to go. It doesn't affect your accuracy or anything, because all you're doing is drilling a small hole, putting a pin in there, and then welding it so you can't rotate the flash nozzle device.
Nico says you have a happy shelf behind you. Yeah, I'm sure he sat in here many nights with our little flameless candles.
I tell you what, my stream lights and my Surefires and all those lights certainly came in handy. That's for sure.
And the thing is that y'all missed when I said that we had PTSD from it. And that's why I said y'all don't have kids. Because if you understood, I could have lived with this man for 5 days without electricity. Living with our 4 kids with no connection to phones.
Oh, yeah. And talk about, you think somebody was torturing him.
No, not being able to have water. Yeah, we had PTSD from our children being stuck inside like that. We left as soon as we were like called up when our favorite restaurants were like, do you have water? Do you have food? Okay, we're coming over.
Our favorite Arabic place, Arabian place.
Thank you so much, Joe. He said you are much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chris is from New York. He knows the cold. And I've lived there with him. Cody says y'all bash Southerners for complaining about the cold, but they put out heat advisories up north when it gets above 80. There's a question
there from Vanilla.
That's actually the truth too, because our son played baseball in New York when we lived up there, and my mother was laughing hysterically when I told her that they canceled the game because it was going to hit 90 that day. She was just like, "You gotta be kidding me."
There's a question from Vanilla Gorilla.
Oh, is this one what stock?
Yeah, that was the Magpul STR. I'm sorry.
What stock was on the 7.62 by 39 rifle from the latest video?
Magpul STR.
There you go. How would you rate the Robinson Armament XCRM platform and that design paradigm in general versus some of the aforementioned high-end 30 cal AR-10 based platforms? Well,
you have video on the XCRM, and you will be having another one coming up in the next couple months. In fact, the first video that we're doing tomorrow is going to be on the XCRL. Excellent system. It's the barrels can get you around an inch. Now, you have to understand that these are designed as combat rifles, not as sniper rifles. So you can't expect half MOA out of them. If you were to get an inch to inch and a half, they are excellent.
This guy says, I want to make more soft comments because the blowback is hilarious. I mean, y'all can't see my face, but I'm laughing over here.
Oh yeah.
Y'all don't realize
She's got a hell of a sense of humor. She does. She actually really does.
PTSD of having 4 kids alone. It was not even. We were fine. Like, how do you think that we've been together almost 25 years, and we work together, and we're here with each other every single day? How do you think that even makes it? We actually enjoy each other quite a bit, but our kids, man, our kids. Opinions on the discontinued aim.3 times mag versus the new 3XC. Also, how would you compare Black Rifle Arms piston system to Caracals?
Well, Black Rifle Arms is different. It offers some different things. The Caracal, I like. The only thing the Caracal definitely has a combat proven. The Black Rifle Arms, unfortunately, just hasn't been. It hasn't had its day in the sun yet. It's still relatively new. People are still learning on it. Both of them are excellent systems. If you're looking for a combat proven system, the Caracal is the way to go. But unfortunately, Caracals aren't available. I have no problem recommending Black Rifle Arms. Their systems work. They work well. Their bolt carriers are nice. You will not go wrong with them. They're one of those really good held secrets that people just don't know about. That once people start using them, they're going to love them. There's another question on there too.
They're blasting these folks. It's been some of the most fun I've had on here. You know what? I sit over here and I do these questions, and I think sometimes they think I'm like a pushover and stuff. So I like to give it back to them and be like, "Yeah, no, I'm not as soft as you."
There's another question with that one too.
Which one?
One we just did. Right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Which one?
Aim.7 one.
Down.
Yes, right there. Opinions on the discontinued Aim.3.
Where are you at? We
Right
did this
there.
one. Oh,
yeah, it was
the second.
Question.
Oh, the top question. Opinions on the discontinued Aim.3 times mag versus the new 3XC.
I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with the 3X. I'm not familiar with the C, unfortunately. I've used them. I have a couple of those. They work great. I have not seen the C yet.
Just assumed it was wine and Whataburger holding it all together.
Whataburger was closed.
No, meaning our marriage. No.
Whataburger's only been around over the last 5 years, 6 years. The Salt Terrier in the back.
That is not an assault terrier.
Yes, it is.
That is not Levi. Levi is the assault terrier.
That's my Sky.
Sky is the dysfunctional terrier. Let's see. Does Knight's Armament have a 6.8?
I do believe they do. Actually, I'm pretty sure that they do. In fact, they just did a whole bunch of M110s, rebarreled them in 6.5 Creedmoor for the military.
Xavier's over here blasting me and questioning me, and he has a question.
Okay.
Should I read it?
Yeah.
I'm just playing with
you. He's
a
regular. We'll do it.
I'm just playing with you. Totally playing with you. Would the LMT30 be a good gun to have as a bug out home defense weapon, or would it be too heavy for that type of use?
If you lived in an area where it was not urban, if you were in a more rural area, I would say yes, because you're going to have longer shots and whatnot. If you are in more of a urban area or suburban area, I would go with the 5.56, and you can even go with 3 blackout or a 3 blackout or a 6.8 SPC. It just depends on where you're at. And you don't see the benefits of 308s in urban environments where you're going to be close quarter. You're going to have to, be mounted, running and gunning and things like that. They're just not practical. It's only when you're out in the plains where you're going to have long range shots where that 308 is going to give you that benefit.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to shut it down for the night. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys are interested in entering our amazing raffle to support the continuation of Black Rifle 3 and help us out. Remember, you are going to be getting well over $500 worth of books. I had to pay $200 myself just to get Black Rifle 1 for this package because it is out of print.
That's been gone since at least June.
And somebody has Black Rifle 1 and Black Rifle 2 for $400 on Amazon, but I had to pay $200 for Black Rifle 1 to include in this raffle. So you get Black Rifle 1, Black Rifle 2, an armor's manual, the Armalite AR-10 book from Collector Grade Publication. Yes. So you get like $500, and the tickets are $20 each, or 3 for $50. Email me at hbartachi@smallarmsolutions.com, and we will be picking live on St. Patrick's Day. So,
and again, St. Patrick was Italian; he was not Irish.
he told me that too before we started. He made sure to tell me that.
That's right.
I was like, okay, good to know.
Good night, guys. Thanks very much.